Hello, my name is Nanette, and I'm really happy that you are joining me today, listening to a few things that we will be speaking of today. Before I start, I'm going to put up a presentation on the screen because we will speak about different things today. It's not going to be very long, so you don't have to sit still for long. And if you want to get up and move around a little bit, you can pause me speaking or ask someone to help you to just pause it for a bit. And then when you're ready, you can come back, but it won't be very long. So I'm going to put up some pictures on the screen. And while I speak about these different things, you can have a look at the pictures too. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what we're going to speak of today. And then if you think of any questions, if you can, make a note of them, draw a little picture to remind you of a question you may have. And then afterwards, ask mom or dad or someone else that you trust or that you know very well, ask them these questions. And if they are not sure, you can always tell them that they are very welcome to send me an email. We will give you our contact details, or mom and dad would be able to find it, and then send us your questions, because it's always good to hear from you watching this video. So let's start. We're going to speak a bit about sibling support, and I'm going to give you an idea of what we'll speak of today. What does it mean to have a sibling? What is a sibling? We're going to speak a little bit about what is autism, because that can be a tricky thing to understand. We'll chat about how you can help your sibling, and then also how your sibling can help you. And then we'll speak a little bit about feelings, different feelings that we experience, different things that we feel. Sometimes we're not even sure about the things that we feel, and we don't know what to do about that. So we're going to speak a little bit about feelings and who we can speak to about our feelings too. Okay, you'll see a whole bunch of pictures on the screen now. So if you're watching this video, you most probably have a brother or a sister, or even more than one brother or sister. And when you look at these pictures on the screen now, some of them may look very familiar to you. Let's look at the pictures. There's one with a few kids, siblings, walking hand in hand. We've got a picture with a boy and a girl, and it looks like they're having an argument or a bit of a fight, and they're not very impressed. The boy is pointing his finger at his sister, and you can see he's not happy. He's angry. This one with the two little girls with a pink or purple shirts. The one is trying to grab a toy from the other one. And that happens when you have siblings. Sometimes you're playing with something and your brother or sister, they want the toy that you're playing with, because it just looks better when you have it. It looks like fun. Looks like you're having fun with a toy. And they also want to have fun, so they might try and grab it out of your hand. Perhaps you've done that with your brother or sister as well, because that's just what happens when you have siblings. It's like having friends or someone with you all the time. And sometimes you need a little bit of space too, right? Then we've got a picture of this boy with an orange top and his little sister, and he's speaking to her. It looks like he's speaking quite loudly, perhaps shouting even, and she's closing her ears. She doesn't want to hear what he's got to say. Perhaps she's had enough of listening to him, and she doesn't look happy either. She's a bit upset. She looks sad. And then we've got a picture of two siblings playing together. It looks like they're building something. And that is also true. If we have siblings, sometimes there are fun times. Sometimes you get along really well. You can play together. You can have fun together. You can go on exciting outings together, perhaps. But sometimes it's not as much fun. Because there are times when we argue and we fight a little bit. And it's not fun for anyone. But it does happen. So the times that we have fun together and the times that everyone gets along well, these times often make us feel happy. We want to share happy moments with our siblings, with a brother or a sister, and we enjoy that. That's nice for everyone. But then other times when we disagree or we argue and we fight, because it happens, and sometimes our siblings don't want to share with us, okay? That's also something that happens. And even though it's not fun all the time, it happens to all siblings. It's not just you and your family, it's other families too. Any brother and sister, or more than one brother or sisters, they do argue, they do fight. So don't worry about it if it feels like it's only your brother or sister fighting with you. Let's look at this picture. I'm sure you are all familiar with little Lego figurines. And if you look at these people in the picture, these Lego people, they all look different. They're all little people, but none of them are the same. They look different, and it's exactly the same with us as people and as children, as kids, as brothers and sisters. We look different. We sound different. We like different things. We're good at different things. And sometimes, often, we have a hard time with different things. And it can even be that we communicate differently. So let's look at a few examples of these things that I mentioned now. We look different. And even if you are a brother and a sister, perhaps, or siblings, it can be two brothers, two sisters, or a brother and a sister. I'm speaking of you and a sibling now. You look different. Perhaps one of you may have light hair and the other one could have dark hair. Or one of you can be taller than the other one. Or one of you can have curly hair and the other one's hair is straighter. Or one has short hair and the other one long hair. So we look different. You look different to your sibling. We sound different. Our voices can sound different. The things that we say are different. We're two different people. So the way that we sound and the way that we look are different. And that's normal. Of course, we like different things. We all like different things. Perhaps you like different things to eat. You may like carrots and your sibling likes broccoli. Or you may like playing with cars and your sibling enjoys playing outside more. Or perhaps one of you could like arts and crafts and the other one would prefer building puzzles. So all those things are different, but it's fine. It's okay to be different. We're supposed to be different. We can't all be the same, right? Then the next one, we're good at different things. Perhaps one of you are maybe a really fast runner and the other one could read very well. Or perhaps someone in your family is really good at writing stories, but someone else is really good at building puzzles. Or it can be everyday things, even little tasks in the house. One of you may be very good at setting the table, but the other one is really good at doing the dishes or vacuuming a part of the floor. It can really be anything, but the point here is we are good at different things. And just exactly the same that we are good at different things, we also have a hard time with different things. For some of us, we have a hard time listening when other people are talking. It could be that one of us may have a hard time when we go away from home. Perhaps when we go on holiday, we don't like it to be different. We don't want to sleep in a different bed, stay in a different house. That can be something that someone may find hard. Another thing could be, it may be hard to go to school for you. Or it could be hard to pack your school bag in the morning or to get ready to leave the house to go somewhere. So all these little things, it can be other things too. One of you may find it hard to write. Someone else in your family could find it hard to draw a picture. So there's all different things that we're good at, and then there's also different things that we struggle with, that is hard, that's not so easy to get done. And those things are all part of everyday life. And then the last one, it says, it can be that we communicate differently. Now, what does that mean? To communicate is the way that you get a message from one person to someone else. So that can be you giving a message to a parent or a friend or someone you know, or it can be someone else giving a message to you. And how is a message given? If you want to think about that a little bit, you can give a message by telling someone something. So if I need something, I can tell someone, hey, listen, I need to go and take out the garbage quickly. Will you clean up your toys? Because we're going to have dinner soon. So that's a message. Your parent might tell you, or a nanny, someone looking after you might tell you, okay, it's time to pack up your toys. And they're giving you a message. They're telling you the message. In this case, they're speaking to you. But there are other ways of giving messages as well, other ways of communicating. Sometimes you can communicate through pictures. If you think of a storybook with pictures in it, often you can look at the picture and you can get a message out of it. You can see, oh, okay, this, if you think about the pictures we looked at a moment ago, there were the two little girls and the one grabbed a shovel, I think, out of the other one's hand. And you can see she's upset, she's sad, she's angry perhaps even. And you can look at the picture and see, okay, this one is grabbing a toy out of the other one's hand, which is making her sad. So that picture is giving you a message. You can read that picture. And that's a way of communicating with you, because you're getting a message by looking at the picture. Now, how else can you get a message? You can read a message, so someone can write a word or a letter or a sentence, and they can give it to you. And if you can read the message on the paper, or you can ask someone to help you to read the message. Then there's also something else that we call gestures, things that we do with our body, with our hands, with our face. And sometimes we can send messages through those little things. Like if you are walking next to the road and there's a car passing and you need to cross the road, someone, perhaps the lady where the children cross the road at the school, or the man helping with the traffic and the cars and people to cross the road. Perhaps it could be a parent or someone that you're walking with. They might show you, and you know that means stop. Or it can be, perhaps you're at school and the teacher is talking and she might show you, listen. Or it could be that you're at school or perhaps somewhere that you need to be quiet and someone can show you. And you know that means, shh, you need to be quiet now. They didn't say anything. They didn't write down a message, but they showed you. Or listen, or stop, or wait. And those things are messages that we get through gestures. Something that someone does or shows, and you understand the message. Now, a way of communication, especially for someone who finds it hard to speak or to write even, and you often see this, you always see this with young children as well, before they learn to communicate in a different way. They would often grab something out of your hand because that's their way of saying, I want that. That looks fun to play with. I want to have fun too. I want that. That's his or her message, grabbing it from you. Or someone, if you think of a toddler, a very young child, and the toddler's parent may give him or her something to eat, and sometimes you see them, even a baby, pushing it away. And that means, no, I don't want it. And that's a way of giving them a message. I don't want that. No, without saying a word. So if you think about all these things and communicating differently, perhaps you can now think of ways that you and your siblings communicate. Perhaps some days your sibling might communicate with you through gestures more, pushing you away when they don't want you in their space then, or grabbing something out of your hand when what you have looks like fun to play with. So those things, it's not always easy, but we need to try and remember that this is a message that they're trying to give to us. And now with this, it's not your job, but it's part of our job to help where we can. And if you know that your sibling, perhaps something that he or she finds hard is to speak to you. And if you know that is the case, if you're not sure, you can ask mom or dad or someone who knows you very well. And you can ask them, is it tricky for my brother or sister to tell me, no, I don't want to play now? Why do they just keep pushing me away or hitting me when they don't want to play with me? Speak to mom or dad or someone you know well about that. And then try and find a way of, because it's not nice for you if your brother or sister hits you when they don't want to play. You need to find a different way. And not you. Your brother or sister needs to find a different way to let you know. Perhaps that can be showing you by shaking their head, no, I don't want to play now. Or it can be giving you, perhaps they can have little message cards that they can share with you. And if you ask them, hey, brother or sister, whatever their name is, do you want to play with me? They can give you the message card, yes or no. And then you know. And then it's not necessary for them to hit you or hurt you, because you're finding a different way to communicate. The reminder here is not really finding different ways to communicate, but understanding that sometimes your sibling, perhaps even someone at your school, may communicate differently. And if that is so, that's okay. Not all of us find it easy to speak to other people. Some of us and some of you may find it easier or more convenient to write or to draw or to give someone a message card. And those things are all ways of communicating, and it's okay. Okay, now this next one, let's speak a little bit. We're not going to go into a lot of detail, but we're going to speak a little bit about what autism is. Perhaps you've heard the word autism before. Perhaps you've heard it at school or at home, someone speaking about it. Perhaps someone in your family have been speaking to you about it as well. If you are here and listening and looking at this video, you may have a brother or a sister or a friend or someone in your family who has autism. Now perhaps you've heard it already, but perhaps not. And sometimes you will hear people say, he has autism. Others could say he or she is autistic. Or some people say she is diagnosed with autism. All these things mean more or less the same, so don't worry about it. If you've heard the word autism, there is something that we can learn about autism that's going to help us and those around us too. Autism has an effect on how someone's brain works. Autism can make it hard to communicate, like that little picture with a mouth and the person speaking. It can make it tricky to understand other people, what they say, how they feel, perhaps expressions that they show on their face. That can be hard to understand sometimes. And autism may also make it hard for someone to stay calm when you're excited or nervous or angry. So there are many other things that are also part of autism. And the one thing about autism is that when someone is diagnosed with autism, they are not the same as someone else who's diagnosed with autism. It looks different every time. So some people diagnosed with autism may find it hard to speak. Others may find it tricky to look at someone's face when they're talking, or to look into your eyes when they're speaking to you. Someone else with autism may find it hard to go into noisy places. He or she may cover his ears when they go into noisy places because the sound is really loud for them. So this makes it, sometimes it makes it a little bit difficult for us to understand, because we don't really know always what can we do to help for my brother or sister to make it a bit easier for them, or to help them feel welcome, or to help them have fun playing with me. So this is just a little bit of an idea to help you understand what autism is. Any child, but also many children diagnosed with autism, like to move. So something that you can do is you can play games together, play outside, go on the jungle gym together, swing, or even climb a tree. If you play a game, make sure that everyone understands the rules. So it's not your job to try and be the teacher all the time. Not at all, because you're also a child and you should also have fun. But just keep in mind that if you're playing and perhaps your brother or sister or your friend keeps doing the wrong thing during the game, it could be that they weren't sure about the rules when you started the game. So make sure you explain the rules before the time, and it will help if you can use short sentences. So if you play hide and seek, for example, you can say, playing hide and seek, hide outside only. So instead of saying, we're going to play hide and seek and we're going to only hide outside, no one's allowed to go inside, only hiding outside. That's a lot of talking, and you're just trying to say we're only allowed to hide outside. So if you can, and when you remember, try to use short sentences, because it's easier to hear and to understand a short sentence instead of a long explanation. But something you can do, and you'll be able to see if you think about your brother or sister or your friend, or someone in your family, you'll be able to see quite quickly, what do they like doing? Are they always running? Do they go outside and play whenever they can? And if that's the case, go and join in. Go and play outside with them. Have fun together. Sometimes, when you play games that you are good at, your brother or sister may need some help. If he or she allows you to help, you can help. Other times, your brother or sister may get up and leave the game. This is not because they don't like you, not at all. But it could be that the game is a little bit too difficult, or even it could be that the game is just not that interesting for him or her. And perhaps at that point, your brother or sister just can't think of a way of telling you, I don't really like this game, or perhaps they don't want to hurt your feelings, but they don't want to play this game now, so they just get up and leave. It's easier to do that, because then you know, okay, he obviously doesn't want to play, and it was easier to just get up and walk away. It doesn't mean that they don't like you or they don't want to be with you, though. You can sometimes try and copy some of the things that your brother or sister does. You may notice that your sibling plays with certain toys different than the way you would. It could be that he or she may like it if you try out their way of playing sometimes. Perhaps your brother doesn't push a toy car and pretend to drive around on a road. Perhaps he rather spins the wheels and then looks at how it turns round and round. Or he spins the wheels and he tries to see how fast he can make it go. So it could be something to try out. If your brother spins the wheels on a car, try and do that too and see what your brother does. Then you just have to watch out for signs that he may give you to say, I like that you're playing this way with me, or perhaps he doesn't like it. And then it's not something that you have to try and do. But it's an idea of how you can interact with your brother or sister more, play with them more. Then the next one, it could be that your brother or sister may still want to play, even if he or she doesn't talk much. So sometimes your sibling may not talk much to you, or perhaps he may not even look at you. That does not mean that he doesn't want to be with you, or she doesn't want to be with you. But if you remember what we spoke about a little while ago, talking could be something that's tricky for your brother or sister or your friend to do. And if you know that talking is tricky for them, perhaps you can ask a parent or someone you know well to try and figure out a way for you and your sibling to communicate a little bit more. Remember those pictures or the movements that we can show. Stop, or yes, or even a thumbs up for yes. Perhaps those are little things that you can try with a parent or someone else to try and see what can help you to play together more and to have more fun together too. Because remember, part of having a sibling is to have fun together too. You can help by letting your brother or sister know what will happen next. So we all like to know what will happen next, or if something is going to change, because that helps us to be prepared. If you're playing with your favorite toy and you need to put it away to go to the shops with your mom soon, you want to know when you can get your toy back. Now, it's exactly the same for your sibling, but perhaps your brother or sister doesn't always know how to ask. When will I get my toy back? When can I play with this again? That could cause him or her to be very nervous or scared, and perhaps he or she starts crying and fighting when he's scared. So if you think of that little example that I just gave you, if you're playing with your favorite, let's say, trains, and mom walks in or dad walks in and they say, okay, listen, we're going to go to the shop soon. When we come back, you can play with your trains again. You don't have to pack it up, leave it here. When we come back, you play again. You know, okay, unfortunately, I have to go to the shops with mom or dad quickly, but when I can come back, I can have my trains again. Now, this can be something that you can help your brother or sister to understand. And if you remember what we said just now, we can try and use short sentences or even show them on a piece of paper what's going to happen next. You can draw a little picture, or if you can, write a word to help them understand and then show them on the piece of paper. We're going to the shops, or we're going to play a different game, but then you can come back to your train or whatever it is that he or she was playing with at the time. And not only with playing, but little things. If you know that something is going to change, if you have a friend that's coming over, you can let your sibling know about that too, so that they know what to expect. Okay, and then that brings us to the last little one on this page of how we can help and how you can help. If your brother or sister tries to communicate with you, try to wait and listen. Now, I definitely understand that this sounds way easier than it is, because you are also still a child. But if your brother or sister tries to communicate with you, try to remember that it means that you are special to them. They have a message for you, and they've got something that they want to share with you. Now, remember that communicating is not only talking. It can be that your brother or sister or your friend may try to talk to you, and it could be that it takes them a little bit longer to think of the right words that they want to say to you. So, if that is the case, try and wait a little bit. Don't interrupt them, or don't try and tell them what to say, but just wait a little bit longer and listen to what they want to say to you. And then also remember that communicating is not only talking. So it can be that they want to write you a little note or just a word, but it could be that it's going to take a little bit longer for them to write or to think about what they want to write, or even to think about writing the word. So those things can take a little bit of time, but that's okay. Try and wait when you can and listen or see what message your brother or sister has for you. It can also be if your brother or sister is learning now how to communicate by using message cards. It is going to take a little bit of time in the beginning for them to find the right card with a message they want to give to you. So if something happens and your brother or sister goes to his message board, or perhaps he or she has a message book, and they start to look for the picture that they want to give to you with that message, just wait a little bit and give them a chance to give you the message that they have for you. This is an interesting one. Can your sibling help you? We've been speaking a lot now about your sibling, your brother or your sister or your friend, and how you can help them, and the way that you need to understand and you need to wait and listen. And I do understand that that's quite a lot for you to do. But now we're also going to think a little bit about how can your brother or sister help you? And a good way to think of this is to think about what they are really good at. So perhaps your brother or sister really likes running. And it can be that you can turn that into a little bit of a game, but also in a way that you can help one another. So let's say at home, you sometimes, one of your little jobs at home or one of your chores could be to, let's say, set the table. Okay? But perhaps your brother or sister doesn't really help you with that. And it's supposed to be a job that you do together. So at the moment, it could be that you're doing most of it on your own. It would be nice for your brother or sister to help you, right? Because you can also use help sometimes. Now think of those things, and then you think of ways. If he or she really likes running, let's see. Okay, maybe there's something like a serving spoon or a napkin or a plastic salt and pepper container that you can give to them and they can run and put it on the table. Okay, so you are using something that he or she really likes, running, and turning that into a way that they can help you as well. Then it's not only you helping them, but you're helping one another, which is always nice to have between siblings. Let's think of another example. Perhaps your sibling is really good at, let's say, throwing. Now you can use that when you are packing. Perhaps you're helping mom or dad to fold laundry and pack it away. It can be that you perhaps put the balls of socks together, the sock pairs, and your brother or sister can stand a little bit away from the cupboard and throw it into the cupboard. Are you using something that they're good at or something they enjoy to help as well? Or let's use a different example again. Perhaps your sibling is really good at sorting things out. And that can be when you have to pack away after playtime. He or she can help you to put all the train tracks in one container, or to put all the animals in a different container, or all the figurines where they need to go. So try and include your brother or sister as well, with little jobs that you have to do together, so that as I said, so that it's not only you helping them, but them also helping you whenever that is appropriate. And then another thing here is most people love to feel appreciated when they can do something for someone else. It's a nice feeling. You know, when you help someone else with something, it gives you a good feeling too, because it's nice to help. It's good to help when you can. And the same with your sibling. It will be good for them. It will give them a good feeling too. If they know that they're helping you with something, it makes them feel special too, just as it does for us. And then the last one we're going to speak about today is your feelings. Now, sometimes this can be tricky to even understand, and sometimes we're not even sure what we're feeling or why we're feeling that way. But some of these things, if you look at these pictures, sometimes we can feel proud of something that we have done, proud of something that we've accomplished. You can even feel proud of someone else for doing well in something. Sometimes we feel angry. And it can be, if we think about this whole video today is about you and your siblings. Sometimes it can make you feel angry if mom or dad it feels like they're always busy with your brother or sister. And that makes you feel angry because you want them to be with you too. Sometimes you can feel worried and you think about, perhaps you're thinking, is my brother or sister going to be okay? Perhaps they're going to school for the first time and you're worried about them during the day. Some things make us feel happy. Some things make our siblings feel happy too. Sometimes we feel sad because it could make us sad that perhaps you have to go to bed by yourself because mom or dad needs to lie with your brother or sister for them to fall asleep. And that can make you feel sad. And it's fine to feel sad, and it's fine to feel happy. And it's normal to have all these different feelings. Sometimes you can be disgusted or not impressed with something. Other times you're really excited about something. Or it can be that some things confuse us. We don't know why it happens. We don't know why things are the way they are. And it's a bit confusing. Now, with all these different feelings, it's good to figure out a way to help you understand what you're feeling, and also to keep in mind that other people also have these feelings. So mom and dad or whoever it is, they are also proud sometimes, proud of you, proud of something you've done. They are also angry sometimes. They're also confused. They're not always sure how to help or what to do. There are also things that make them happy and things that make them sad. But that's normal, and that's how it is. And I want you, something that you can do, and I want you to do it after you've watched this video, or even right now if you can think of that. Think of 3 people in your life, 3 safe people that you know well. It can be a parent, it can be a teacher, it can be someone that you know well. But think of 3 people that you can speak to about your feelings. And when you feel any of these things and you're not sure how to handle it, or you're just not sure even what you're feeling, or something upsets you or worries you, then you can go to one of those three people and speak to them and tell them about it and let them help you to figure out a way to go forward, a way to feel better, a way to not be so confused, a way to be more calm or happy, because what you feel is really, really important. And you are really, really important. Thank you so much for watching. And I hope you've learned a little bit today, something that can really make a difference for you, because you are really special.